Super, thank you. So we're going to start off lying on our backs. We're deliberately doing this so that I can remind you about how to engage the core and things like that. So we'll start off with quite an easy session to begin, and then we'll work our way up into doing stuff a little bit more exciting. I'm trying to sell you the fact that it's tummy night tonight. So I think it would make sense when you're lying on your back to begin with to have the knees bent. It will help to remind you to allow the lower back to lift and to find that space between the shoulder blades so that the top of your back, the back of your head and your neck feels fully supported. Take care to position your feet hip width distance apart, the insides of the feet parallel. And for now we'll start with the hands either side of the hips, palms turned up towards the ceiling, in a gesture of receptivity. If you think about the way you position your hands, we want to create space at the side of the ribcage so that we can become aware of deepening the inhalation, expanding and widening into the space above and to the sides of the body, then lengthening the exhalation and really feeling how the whole weight of your body releases again back into the floor beneath you. Remember, it's not uncommon for us to simply breathe to the top third of the lungs. So we'll use these few moments at the top of the session just to remind ourselves and to explore filling the lungs completely, emptying the lungs fully, drawing the breath all the way down into the belly, and sensing that that release from the belly is the last to go. So it might help to imagine that you're blowing up a balloon from the bottom up, releasing that air from the balloon from the top down. In essence, inhaling to the belly, the chest and the collarbones. Then exhaling from the collarbones, the chest and the belly last. So we'll adjust the way that we're using our hands for now. Bring the left hand to the heart, the right hand to the belly, and repeat that action of inhaling to the belly, the chest, the collarbones, exhaling from the collarbones, the chest and the belly last. So you can feel that your hand is being lifted as you inhale deeply. Then your hands start to release as you exhale, sinking back in towards the chest, then the belly. One more time, breathing into the belly, the chest and the collarbones. Breathing out from the collarbones, the chest and the belly last. Start to allow your breath to return back to a natural, easy rhythm, just so that you don't feel you're forcing the breath. But remain mindful of that intention to fill the lungs completely, to empty the lungs fully. I'm going to encourage you to reposition your hands again. This time we're going to bring the fingertips to rest onto the bony parts of the hips, so we can feel where the hips are gently become a little pointy. And then as you exhale, trace the line in a diagonal from the pointy bony parts of your hips in towards the pubic bone. So you're drawing a diagonal line with the index finger, middle finger, to sort of rest halfway between the hips and the pubic bone. So on the inhale, you can feel that expansion here. On the exhale, you might start to notice there's a little tension just at that space where you've rested the index finger and middle finger. To exaggerate this, replace your next exhalation with a cough. Well, that was nicely timed. So with that little cough, you might notice that those tendons firm up, they tense up just below your fingertips, and they give you an indication of where that strengthening muscle tone is. So rather than a cough on the next exhalation, let's take a really slow breath out and see if we control the tense of those tendons. So exhaling, feeling those little, almost like rubber bands rising up. Then as you inhale, let that tension go. To further exaggerate this action, as you next exhale, imagine that you can pull the hips together. You can't, they're not connected. But that action of drawing the hips towards one another encourages those tendons that I'm referring to lift a little more so that you can feel that tightness under the fingers. Inhale again and let that relax. One further exhalation to feel that tension as you lift the tendons, engage the core. Then inhale, allow that to soften. So we're going to come back to that point in a moment, but just so that we have a rest from overworking that area, I want you to now slide your fingertips underneath the small of the back. So for most of us, there will be quite a considerable lift here in the lower back. So plenty of space to place at least the fingertips, if not the whole of the back of the hands, under the lower back. So again, we'll set that inhalation to widen through the chest. But this time as you exhale, draw the tummy button in and mindfully start to fill that lift. So the space where you've placed the fingers under the lower back, feel the weight of your lower back press into the back of the hands. Inhale, open again into the chest, feel that lift. As you exhale, draw the lower back towards the fingertips, towards the mat, filling that space here. One more time to inhale and widen. On the next exhalation, again feeling that control as you press the lower back towards the floor. Inhale, allow yourself that little gap again under the lower back. Remove the hands and return them again to that point that we found in the diagonal between the hip bones and the pubic bone. So we'll repeat that little cough action to remind ourselves of that tensing in the tendon. And I want you to notice that when you cough, naturally, that control of the sphincter of the pelvic floor happens. So everything kind of clenches in and up when we do that abrupt out breath. So let's again consider the inhalation to allow everything in the lower abdominals to soften. On the exhalation, not only are we drawing the hips towards one another, but we're also mindfully drawing the pelvic floor up and in towards the belly. So on an inhale, you can relax all of that, let it go. On an exhale, you're drawing the pelvic floor, the hips together, perhaps squeezing that sphincter so that the butt muscles are also engaged. Inhale to relax. So keeping our whole focus now simply on the pelvic floor, on the next exhalation, really concentrate on squeezing that pelvic floor in and up. Inhale to relax. Now I want you to imagine that your pelvic floor is like an elevator, so we're travelling from the ground floor, ultimately reaching the fourth floor, And every time we come to a floor, the inhalation will allow the doors to open. On the exhalation, the doors will close, and we'll squeeze that pelvic floor a little further up. So let's start at the ground floor. Inhale, imagine those doors opening. As you exhale, draw the pelvic floor up, let the doors close, and we'll use that out breath to pull us up to that first floor. Inhale, let the doors open. As you exhale, close the doors, squeeze the pelvic floor, and pull all the way up to the second floor. Inhale, opening the doors. Exhale, closing the doors, pulling the pelvic floor up. Gently drawing now all the way up to the third floor. I feel as though I'm now pressing the sacrum, the space at the bottom of the lower back, into the floor. Inhaling to open those doors. Exhaling, drawing the pelvic floor up and in, and then squeezing all the way up to the fourth floor. As you inhale, relax fully and unclench all that tension, visualising that you're travelling all the way back again to the ground floor. So the doors are fully open. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, close the doors, and we're going to go all the way up to the second floor without stopping at the first. Inhale, open the doors. Exhale, close the doors, and slowly release all the way back to the ground floor. Inhale, open the doors and relax. Take another deep breath in, widening into that space. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in, lift the pelvic floor. We're going to take the lift all the way from the ground floor up to the fourth floor. So no stopping en route, just squeezing the pelvic floor higher, using that sphincter control again to close the buttocks. Take a deep breath in, open the doors, and let yourself out here at the top on the fourth floor. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, lift the pelvic floor, close the doors at the fourth floor. Then a long, slow inhalation to bring yourself back to that ground floor position. Excellent. Just take a moment here, breathing normally, not thinking about the breath. And we'll just change the pace of that pelvic floor squeeze. So we've been doing it nice and long and slow and controlled as we draw the pelvic floor up. Now we're going to go into a little fast twitch action. So think about every exhalation to twitch and squeeze the pelvic floor up, every inhalation to open. In order to do this fast, you might have to do that rapid bunny breath. So that's where you breathe in quickly in and out through your nose. So you have to find your rhythm first. If you're doing the inhale to begin, then clearly that's a relaxed state. The exhale is the engagement. So out to clench, in to relax. So out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. I'm just going to mention here, we shouldn't be lifting the bottom from the floor. There isn't a lot of action in the hips. It's mainly in the space between the hips and that anchor point at the pelvic floor. We'll go for a few more seconds. Out, in, out, in, out, in. So on the out, you're pulling up, squeezing. On the in, you're giving yourself a little release. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Lovely. Now bring both hands again to rest either side of the hips. Keep the shoulder blades drawn together so you can feel that secure base under the flats of the shoulder blades through the back of the hips. And just double check that your feet have remained hip width distance apart but the knees haven't rolled outwards. Have a sense of pressing the big toe mound into the mat, aligning from the big toe through to the heel, pushing now into the soles of the feet, lifting the bottom gently from the mat. Pausing here to make sure that we're not rolling to the outside edge of the feet. So again, engaging the big toe mound, pressing the shins forward, lifting the thighs higher, squeezing the buttocks to just help that lift. Then as you exhale, gently roll down through the spine, vertebra by vertebra. Beautiful. We'll take a moment to draw the right knee in towards the chest. We'll keep that left knee bent, and the first action is to extend your right leg forward, and we'll just hold that heel an inch from the floor. So a nice long straight right leg. Again, palms turned up is probably helpful. It saves you from clutching the floor. Inhale to point the toe. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. So we're keeping long and strong in this right leg. Inhaling to widen through the chest. Exhaling, drawing the tummy button in. Then on the next out breath, we're going to lift that leg up to a perpendicular position. So bringing the leg straight, pushing through the heel. This time, rather than pointing and flexing the toe, we'll draw little circles with the toe to mobilise the ankle. Changing direction, taking those circles the opposite way. Bringing the foot to full flexion again. Having a sense of pressing through the heel and drawing the backs of the hips to really press down into the floor. Now think about your breath control here. Inhale to widen through the chest. As you exhale, low and slow, we're going to take the heel down for a count of 3, 2, and 1. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, back to the perpendicular, 3, 2, and 1. We'll lower one more time, exhaling, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale to lift both arms overhead, pointing through fingers and toes. Then hug that right knee in towards the chest. And we'll repeat the same set of actions on the opposite leg. So now the right knee is bent, the left leg is extended forward. We start hovering that heel an inch from the floor. Inhaling to point the toe, exhaling to flex. So we're just gently working through natural range of movement for the ankle. Bring that foot to full flexion, engage the core. The first action on the exhale is to bring that leg fully to perpendicular. Pressing through the heel, keeping the back of the hips equally weighted through the mat. Then we'll use the big toe to draw 3 circles in. Change direction, take those circles the opposite way. Come again to full flexion, pressing through the heel, and inhalation to widen through the body, and exhalation to engage the core, slowly lowering down, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in, back to centre, 3, 2, 1. One further breath in, exhale to lower, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that heel an inch from the floor. Inhale to lift the arms overhead, repeating that long point through fingers and toes. Then on the out breath, hugging the knee in towards the chest. So doing the legs one at a time is relatively easy. We're now going to lift both legs up into the air. I'll remind you that sometimes it's helpful to place the backs of the hands underneath the sacrum. But for those of us with tight lower backs, that sometimes helps just to give a little extra lift in the lower back. So the action is to draw the knees in, to push the heels up, to bring the feet to flexion, Have a little gap between the feet, between the thighs. Press through the heels. So again, we'll go to one leg at a time, but it's more challenging because we've got our legs in the air. So keep that left leg in the position, wide through the chest on the inhale. On the exhale, lower the right heel, 3, 2, and 1. Hover an inch from the floor, don't give in. Wide through the chest. Engage the core, back to center, 3, 2, and 1. Straight over to the other side, exhale, 3, 2, and 1. Pause, inhale, then exhale to engage, 3, 2, and 1. Take a moment to hug the knees into the chest, particularly if your lower back is feeling the strain here. Then I'll get you to come straight back up to that action. So legs are straight. On the out breath, lower the right heel down, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to stay here an inch off the floor. Keep the left leg extended up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to do a little pulse here. Lifting that right heel, 3, 2, and 1. Pause. Repeat. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Repeat. 3, 2, 1. Lift that leg back to center. Lower the left heel. Little pulse. 3, 2, 1. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Last set of 3. Big breath in. As you exhale, engage the core. Lift both legs to center. Hug the knees in. A little rock from one side to the other. We'll do the trick. It's lying on my back that makes me cough, so I'm going to sit up for a while. You can all stay lying down, but I can't. So quite easy from here. We're just going to keep the knees where they are above the hips, but push the feet a little further forward so that you make that upside down table position. Wrists directly above the shoulders, palms turned in to face one another. Good, nice natural gap between the feet there. Excellent. So we're going to start in static contraction. So even in this posture, you can be testing the edges of where you get a little bit more, a little bit less. So you can try pushing your feet a little further away and noticing that by extending the lever and taking the weight away from center, it creates a little bit more disruption in the lower back. When you feel that your back muscles are joining in, come back, reset the core, exhaling to draw the tummy button in, zipping the hips together. Perfect. So you just want to find that perfect sweet spot. If during the course of this next sequence, you find that your lower back is lifting, you can draw the knees a little bit closer in, but don't do that too quickly because you will chase away the benefits of doing the whole course. So on the next exhalation, we'll just start by taking the arms back. So straight above the shoulders, Rosina. So lifted up off the floor. Have I frozen? Uh-huh. Aha, I've got you back. Super, I just had to be patient. There was nothing I could do. Have you been holding that all that time though? Good. You know better. Oh, it stopped again. It keeps dipping in and out. I saw that a couple of you were frozen and moving quickly and slowly, so I couldn't work out if it was me or you. I think it's here. So have a little rockety do, hugging the knees in towards the chest, because I feel like you might have been there for a while. Super. Yes, I lost 2 minutes, I think, on the recording. I can see where the timestamp is. Beautiful. Come back into that reverse table position. So the one that you just did was the arms behind the back, resting the thumbs an inch from the floor. We're now going to do opposite leg to opposite arm. So again, we're having the wrist directly above the shoulders. On the exhale, Joe, if you can lift your arms straight up, they're up here, that's it. Then on the exhale, extend the right leg forwards, take the left arm back, hovering the heel and the hand an inch from the floor. Nice little adjustment into flexion there, thank you. Then as you exhale, simply transition opposite leg, opposite arm. Use the inhale now to fill the body. Then as you exhale, transition back to the first side. And then one more time, inhale and exhale. Beautiful. Then we'll bring that knee in. This time, hands on the knees. We're going to do that little stirring action. So we're drawing the knees in little circles above the hips, changing direction. So we're kind of getting into the inner thighs a little bit. So when we take opposite arm and opposite leg away, we work with the external obliques. So that's I like to call them the sort of waist whittling option. So we're taking them out of the way. We're now going to change our action. We're going to push both heels up towards the ceiling again. And I want you to be really mindful of that. Equal weight through the back of the hips, equal weight through the back of the shoulders, and just spread the arms into a T shape, nice and wide. The arms are rested, the back of the hands are rested. And then please take the right leg away from the midline of the body. So you're opening the right leg out to the right side without rolling over to that side. So there comes a point where you can feel that the weight of the leg, if you let it go anymore, it will pull you over. Try to keep the left hip on the mat. As you exhale, engage the core. To a count of 3, bring that right leg back to centre. 3, 2, and 1. Wide through the chest on an inhale. On an exhale, take the left leg wide. 3, 2, 1. Hold in this posture, not the breath. Take a deep breath in. Then as you exhale, bring that left leg back to centre. 3, 2, and 1. Wide as you inhale. As you exhale, take both legs wide. 3, 2, and 1. Press through the heels. Hang around in this wide posture. Or as you come to your next exhalation, squeeze the legs together. 3, 2, and 1. Then on the out breath, hug the knees in towards the chest. And we'll draw a little figure of 8 with the knees this time. So we're back to massaging the space just above the sacrum. We're coming back to our dead fly posture once more, reverse table. Wrists above shoulders, palms facing in towards one another. Knees either directly above the hips, a little closer if your lower back is complaining, or a little further away if you want to work a little harder. On the next exhale, take right heel forward, left arm back. Keep the heel and the hand an inch from the floor. We'll do those little pulses again. So 3, 2, 1, pause. 3, 2, 1, pause. Last set. 3, 2, 1, and draw the knee in, bring the arm up. Transition straight over to the opposite side, extending left leg, bringing right arm back, heel and hand an inch from the floor. Little pulse, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1. Then draw the arm and the leg back to centre, hugging the knees now towards the chest. Let's widen the knees a little. So we're taking the knees out as wide as the shoulders, bringing the hands just to the inside of the knees, taking hold of either the ankles or the feet, wherever you can reach. Keep the left leg or the left knee bent as you push the right heel up, but we've got hold of that foot, so we're definitely keeping a bend in the knee, and we're not putting any strain on the shoulder to reach the foot. It's just a nice, relaxed, open stretch through the back of the leg. Bring that right heel in, push through the left heel. Keep those shoulders relaxed, the hips equally weighted. Then bring that left heel in. Press both heels up, knees remain bent. I quite like to imagine sometimes that I'm trying to push my knees under my armpits. So it reminds me to keep the knees quite steeply bent. And then we're gently just going to roll from one side to the other, massaging over the back of the sacrum, into the back of the shoulders. Then roll back again to centre. Replace the feet on the floor. Taking the feet now all the way to the edge of your mat so that you've got a nice wide gap between the knees. Bringing those arms back to a T shape, rolling the knees over to the right side, encouraging that opening through the front of the left thigh. There's a lot in that left hip flexor, a little in the inner thigh, a little bit in the outer thigh. As you exhale, engage the core, roll the knees through centre, take the knees to the opposite side, this time feeling the emphasis of the stretch more on the right thigh, the hip flexor. And notice that you probably feel it a little differently on each side. Wide through the chest on the inhale. On the exhale, draw the tummy button in, roll the knees back again to centre. From here, draw the soles of the feet together so that you're coming into a Baddha Konasana posture, allowing the knees to widen with gravity. With every out breath, letting go a little, deepening the stretch to the inner thigh. Wide through the chest, breathing from fingertip to fingertip on the inhale. On the exhale, draw the tummy button in, lift the pelvic floor and draw the knees back again towards centre. Reset the feet hip-width apart. I should have thought to ask this question earlier, but how many of you have easy access to a book or a firm cushion that you could use as a brick, I meant a brick, not a book, underneath the sacrum? So we're looking for just like a proper yoga brick, ideally not a block. So your brick is this shape. I'm going to use it on its flattest profile to begin with. So it's nice and wide, and we're going to stick that brick, not quite underneath the bottom, underneath the flat bone above the bottom. So adjust so that it's not digging into the spine, that your tailbone's not hitting onto there. It should just be enough of a landing space for you to nicely position the sacrum onto the brick. Start with the knees bent, hands again either side of the hips, palms turned up. Easy to begin with. Slide the right heel away, keeping the heel and the calf muscle resting on the mat. In my case, my toe naturally rolls out, yours might not. Just be comfortable here. Slide that right knee back in, or that right foot back in, and extend the left leg forward. Again, creating a little space on the front of the thigh into the hip flexor. So we've made it nice and gentle to begin with. Those of us who are restricted in the lower back, this can feel quite exposed. Let's try now to slide the right foot out to meet the left, so both legs are extended, and it just starts to feel slightly more challenging into the lower back and perhaps into the hip flexors if you are particularly tight there. Give ourselves permission to let the shoulders fully release, the back of the neck, the back of the head soft. Then on the next exhale, draw the tummy button in and slide both feet back in again so that you're back to that familiar leg bent shape. Now push into the soles of the feet, and we're going to just turn the brick up 1/4. So it's slightly more challenging because we're now trying to rest the thinner part of the brick under the sacrum, and we want to feel secure so that we don't feel we're going to fall off this shape. Perfect. If you haven't got a brick and you're trying to improvise with something else, don't make it too hard, just make it feel solid and secure. Now on the next exhale, push the right heel away. So we're repeating that easy action before, but it might be that in this case, the calf isn't quite making the mat because there's obviously a bigger distance now between the hip and the heel. This starts to cause a little bit more disruption in the lower back. So if it's uncomfortable for you, you can bend the knee and come back up to center as soon as you're ready. Then let's extend and take the opposite leg forward. So I like to do this one leg at a time. I always know that when I take my left leg forward, I'm going to get a little bit more feedback from the lower back. It doesn't love it. But again, rather than bringing that heel in, I'm now going to encourage both legs to extend forward. We're just going to see how we feel with that additional stretch, that added little bonus of the extra lift in the lower back. It's easier to open into the hip flexors here. Then once more, bend the knees, slide the feet back in towards center. So reset into your classic bridge pose, making sure the knees are in line with the hips, the big toe mounds are pressed to the floor. Push into the soles of the feet and slide that brick away from underneath your lower back. Now taking our time, really controlling so that we start at the space from the between the shoulder blades and into the middle back. So the bottom wants to feel like the last thing to go down, rolling through the spine vertebra by vertebra. Because we've had that extra lift, it feels like it's going to take a lot longer to reach the floor. Just lean into that, don't rush it. Coming through middle back, lower back. Oh, that's nice on the back of the hips. Beautiful. Then extend both legs forward, unclench the buttocks, and just let your whole body release into this shape. Lovely and soft in the buttocks and the middle back. The weight of your bones sinking into the floor. Perfect. Now I almost feel guilty about asking you to move from this posture because it's so comfortable. But what I'm going to recommend that you do is roll ideally to your left, particularly if you have low blood pressure. And then we're going to roll straight onto our tummies. So you're doing one roll, then onto the tummies. Perfect. Now we're going to keep ourselves nice and comfortable, so we'll stack one hand on top of the other and bring the forehead to rest here. So the elbows are out to the side, you're resting on the forearms, bringing the head to rest on the back of the hands. Gently roll through the forehead to bring one ear parallel to the floor. Come back to centre, then bring the other ear parallel to the floor. Then back again towards centre. Now slide the hands out from under the head, bring the forehead to the floor. Reset the elbows either side of the chest, the palms either side of the head. A moment to adjust to draw the shoulder blades together, lifting the collarbones up and wide. Push into the forearms, into the palms of the hands, and lift the chest. On an exhale, turn and look over one shoulder. On an inhale, look forward. On an exhale, look over the other shoulder. Then inhale again to look forward. On the next out breath, lower all the way down and bring the forehead to the mat. Now we'll stay here with the shoulders a little more relaxed, the forearms weighted into the floor. As you bring the right heel in towards the bottom, slide the right hand down to take hold of that ankle. Set the hips and shoulders square, push into the left forearm, push into the right thigh, and inhale to lift the chest. Teasing out a deeper stretch into the front of the thigh muscles. Exhale to release, let that right leg go. Bring the right arm forward, bring the left heel in. So same stretch, opposite side, making sure that the heel lines up with the sit bone rather than pulling out to the side. Push into the right forearm, inhale to lift the chest. Sometimes a little tilt of the hips can deepen the stretch through the front of the thigh. Then as you exhale, release. Bring the foot to the floor. Slide the palms now either side of the chest. Draw the elbows in. It's a sense that you're almost clutching the side of the rib cage with the upper arms. Tilt the hips again to press the thighs into the mat. Then inhale to lift the chest. So coming into that cobra posture. Nice big stretch for the belly. We did quite a lot of tensing in the belly earlier. Then as you exhale, draw the tummy button in, push back, come to a nice long child's pose. Pressing the sit bones towards the heels, keeping the elbows raised for now, pushing the palms of the hands into the mat so that we can feel that active stretch through the upper arms. Inhale to lift the fingertips, press the wrists to the mat, ears between the upper arms, back of the neck nice and soft. Replace the palms to the floor. Push down into the palms, lift up, come to an all fours position. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, shoulder blades drawn together. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, lift the tummy button towards the spine, lift the pelvic floor up and in again. Slide the right foot back, turn the toe under, gently squeezing into a stretch in the calf and the ankle here. Bring that knee back in, take that stretch over to the opposite leg. Just enjoy it for you. Toe on the floor, Lauren, rather than up in the air, you'll get the stretch. On the left leg, yeah, perfect. I'm switching your tummies off for a while, then come back again to that all fours position. Turn both toes under, just kind of sets an intention that as you exhale, you're rolling up through the spine, nodding the tailbone towards the toes, tucking the chin under, pulling into a lovely long cat stretch. Then inhaling, sliding to the tops of the feet, drawing the sternum forward, bringing the gaze ahead. Exhale, roll up into the cat stretch. Inhale, bring the sternum forward into the cow pose. Return again to that neutral spine position. So again, I'm going to tell you to take the right toe back. For now, we're going to keep the toe on the floor just so that we've got a little bit of balance going on. Then extend the left arm forward, lift that right toe from the mat. Make sure that the heel is in line with the back of the hip and that you're not kicking the radiator. And the ear is just nicely lined up with the inside of the upper arm. Shoulders are square, hips are square. We're not rolling out onto the left knee. Replace the hand, the knee, and switch over and do the same balance on the opposite side. Beautiful. It's a bit harder balance on the opposite side. Then replace the hand, the knee to the floor. Take a moment to widen the knees. So as you widen the knees, draw the toes together, you make like a diamond shape in the lower back. We'll do another child's pose, but this was a different shape. Elbows underneath the shoulders, so forearms to the floor. Slide the thumbs together. Push the sit bones back towards the heels. So you're allowing your belly to drop down between the thighs, bringing the forehead to the mat. And this is just a much quieter and more restful child's pose. Then push into the forearms, lift yourself back up, reset wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Extend the left arm forward, slide the right arm under, bring the right ear, the right shoulder to the mat, twist through that left side of the rib cage, opening up towards the ceiling, twisted puppy pose. As a little extra added stretch, start pushing the sit bones towards the back of the room, and it just lengthens that stretch from the waist down to the outside of the hip. Push into that top arm, bring yourself back to centre. On an out breath, just squeeze to the opposite side. Again, a few moments just to adjust, rotating through the side of the rib cage, opening the rib cage towards the ceiling, then pushing the sit bones back towards the heels, just deepening that stretch. Then push into that forearm, extend both arms forward, back to your conventional child's pose, elbows lifted, pushing the sit bones to the heels, ears between the upper arms. Rather than lifting the fingertips this time, we're going to come up onto fingertips, like you're playing a piano perhaps, and lift the wrists from the floor. Then as you exhale, slowly lower down onto the forearms. Inhale to lift the sternum forward, lift the chest, back into your Sphinx pose. Exhale, lower down, come back into your crocodile pose. So one palm on top of the other, forehead on top of the palms. I quite like taking my feet a little wider in this posture. It's just to say that you don't have to stay wherever your body has landed. You can make adjustments. And here I'm going to encourage you to return to the breath pattern we set right at the beginning. Inhaling to the belly, the chest and the collarbones. Then exhaling from the collarbones, the chest and the belly last. So again, it feels like you're filling a balloon from the bottom up. Then emptying that balloon from the top down. Lying on your front, you tend to get a little bit more feedback that action is happening. Beautiful. Now for our last little sequence, I'll just get you to slide the hands away again from underneath the forehead. Bring the forehead to the mat, extend both arms straight forward, staying on your belly. Inhale to widen through the chest. As you exhale, lift right arm, left leg. Try not to roll over onto the right hip. Try to keep your weight equal. Lower down the hand, the leg. Take a breath, then exhale. Do the same on the opposite side. So breathe out on the effort. Although you're holding the posture, try not to hold the breath. Then lower down, reset the breath. On the inhale, lift both arms, both legs, keeping the forehead down. Engage, engage, engage. Then release, lower down. And one more time, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, engage the core. Lift, 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 arms and legs. You can lift the head this time, lifting the chest from the floor. Skydiving. And when you're ready, release the weight of your body back to the floor. Most comfortable way to get out of this posture is once more to set the hands either side of the chest, push back into a child's pose. Beautiful. So I've never been a huge fan of taking Shavasana in child's pose. Some people like it. If you want to stay there, you can. If you would rather, make your way to a more comfortable traditional Shavasana position, whether for you that means lying on your back or remaining seated. And if you have chosen to go back into lying on your back, just notice the difference, how your body connects with the floor. Because of that space that we've created, particularly through the sacrum, through the belly, you might find that you can just expand a little more widely. You feel more connected through the flats of the shoulder blades, through the back of the sacrum. And you can encourage the weight of your bones to sink a little more deeply into the floor. Remind yourself to unclench the jaw, soften the lips, iron out that frown so the eyebrows are soft, the cheeks release. And find once more the natural rhythm of your breath. Send the breath to any part of the body that may be asking for a little extra attention. Knowing that every exhalation offers your body a release, a letting go. Inhaling deeply to fill the body with positive energy. Exhaling fully to release your body of any tension, anything that may be holding you back. As you welcome a softening, a sense of deeper relaxation through the body, invite your mind to quiet. We'll set ourselves a simple 1-minute challenge to tune out any distractions and simply focus on the breath. It may help you to count the length of the breath, or perhaps you want to tune into the sensations of the breath. Cool air on the breath in, the warm air on the breath out. simply find an anchor point. So that you can allow the monkey chatter of the brain to dissipate, even if it's just for 1 minute. Let's welcome quiet and calm. Anytime the attention wanders, return your full focus to the breath. It's fine to remain aware of your space within this room, aware that you are participating in this practice. But let's not be in a rush to get to the next stage. Remain quiet. Lean into the breath. And tune into any messages coming through to you from the body. Listen to your heart's wisdom. It knows exactly what you need. So feel the back of your head on the floor, the weight through your shoulders, the weight through your hips. To have a sense of reconnecting with the earth. Turn the palms down towards the floor. Feel that cool floor beneath you. Bend the knees up so that we can feel the soles of the feet on the floor. Take a moment to gently rock the head from one side to the other so that we can feel the back of the head. Gently wake up. Bring the head to center. Take a deep breath in, widening through the chest. Then as you exhale, hug both knees in towards the chest. In your own time, roll to one side, pausing to blink the eyes open. Then return again to a comfortable, seated position. Now bring your hands to an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Lovely work, people. You see, it wasn't that hard because we did it nice and slow.
Thank you, Angela.
You're most welcome.